So I have a lovely lady with me today called Adeline, not Adeline, I keep saying Adeline, Adeline Galligan, who is just like the mistress of water. I don't know if you've been called that before. That's what I,
Not a few things, but not the mistress of
that's what
water.
I thought I'd call you.
It's a new one.
Because when I was in hospital for the first 3 years, welcome, by the way. When I was in hospital for the first 3 years, I was terribly dehydrated. I spent my whole life dehydrated and I suffered like hell. And it was only in 2019 that I thought to myself, maybe I'll try drinking more water. Maybe that will mean that I don't suffer so much with all this chemotherapy and the scorching and the not being able to swallow or eat or anything. It was very good for weight loss, but, it's a bit silly. And I went from drinking 1 glass a day to 5 jugs when I was put onto intensive chemo for 6 days. And it made such a difference. I wasn't sick, didn't feel that ill. And I realized that I'd been terribly dehydrated and that being hydrated was so important. So that's why I designed the posters that you can find on the website on the, well, actually lower down on this page, I think. So, but the reason that happened was because I sort of thought, well, drinking bleach and having chemo are very similar, because if you pour bleach down your toilet or in your sink, it sticks to what it sticks to and it scorches. And if you leave it there for any length of time, you have to add water to flush it through and make it efficient. And because I made that reference from bleach to chemo, I thought, oh, maybe I need to flush it through. And you'd think that was really obvious, but for me, it wasn't. So I'm very passionate about encouraging people to drink more water, and the posters are going to be going into the local hospital. And the reason that I've asked Adeline to come along and have a chat today so that we can put the video on this page is because she knows so much more about water than I do. I just drank more water. It's only since then I've got some green stuff, some chlorophyll in there that makes it even better. But you know all about the antioxidants, the voltage of the cells, all the stuff that I don't. So I'm hoping that you will enlighten us today with some information about what you do, why you do it, and the benefits to cancer patients potentially.
Yeah, well, okay, thank you so much for inviting me on. I mean, the mistress of water, that's a new one. I've been water queen tends to be the one of my friends calls me the water queen. But anyway, look, I've been around water a really long time. I just say I'm a Pisces for a start, so it was obviously meant to be water. But my family had a water filtration company and I took that over in the late 90s and around that for 18 years. And then I came across, I suppose, a different technology that takes water to a whole other level again. So it's just been this journey, like literally my whole life has been about water. And it's the missing piece for a lot of people. I'm hearing that so much more from nutritionists, from naturopaths. They're saying it's the missing piece because it's the very foundation of who and what we are. And you discover that. That's why I love your story about when you shared about the bleach and it having to be kind of flushed through with water to be effective and how, but that's the same with everything. Because we're made up of water, the most important thing we can do every day is to be changing out that water, because we're not that, we're very complex. We have got the most amazing buffering and filtering system inside of us. I mean, we are designed by God to heal ourselves given the right environment, but we don't give our bodies the right environment to do all that. And if you don't change out the water, you can literally, if you can just everybody visualize right now, a nice clean fish bowl, and then that water doesn't get changed out, you ignore it and go back to that in a few weeks. What does that fish bowl look like? That's very simple.
I killed a fish like that once. Yeah, I couldn't even see the fish in the end. I was just like, where is he?
Where is the fish? Yeah, I mean, I know that's a very simple, and we're a little bit more complex than a fish bowl, but it's the same sort of thing. Just give you that fish bowl. You have to be changing out the water. You have to be flushing the system through. It is so important. And once you understand that literally you're made up of 70 to 80% water, it is absolutely essential for, it's the foundation. It's the foundation that makes everything else work better. So if you get that right, everything else that you're doing well works even better. So you get better absorption, better digestion, better elimination, and that's all really, really important. But and then it just comes down then to the different types of water and the quality. So I'm just fanatical that people understand.
So step one really is to drink more water.
Yes.
Step two is to look at the quality of the water.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
I must actually just add in that I've just remembered that when I had the stem cell transplant, and they gave me the massive dose of chemo to kick things off, they said to me, bring, it was brilliant advice. They said, bring these ice pops in and eat the ice pops constantly for an hour. Wow. And I was like, seriously, I don't even like them. But I sat there and ate these ice pops the whole time. The reason being, it ulcerates your mouth less if you do that. Yeah. So the ice and the water stops your mouth ulcerating, because a lot of the chemotherapy, your soft membranes ulcerate. So your lips bleed, your mouth bleeds, your nose bleeds, everything bleeds. I'm not going to go into detail. But yeah, your soft membranes, and even when I go out in the cold now, my nose bleeds. So it leaves that a very vulnerable sort of system, I suppose. Your skin is a system, isn't it?
Yeah.
And your membranes. But that scorching is what causes a lot of the vomiting and the suffering, and a lot of the pain. So just drinking more water obviously was a great idea, and it did prove to me that I could get out 2 weeks earlier than I was supposed to and not suffer, which is great. So even from that point of view, it's going to help reduce suffering and help people live longer.
Yeah,
but there's an awful lot of talk about depression, and there's a whole lot of brain fog that's attached to being dehydrated as well, isn't there?
Massive. I mean, your brain is made up of something like 90% water. Like, it's massive. So if you're dehydrated, well, one, that's migraines. Anybody who's suffering from headaches or migraines is dehydrated. Honestly, getting hydrated eliminates that problem.
But don't take a painkiller, drink some water, yeah?
Some water, yeah. And I know it's slower than a painkiller, but if you actually drink water, then you're hydrated on a daily basis. Like, we have so many customers who come back to us who are like, had really, really severe migraines, and like life, like really affecting their life, having to take days off work, like literally vanish from their family and go to bed and just take themselves out of life to deal with this migraine. And they come back and say, I have no more migraines. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge benefit. But to go back to the quality of the water, that's the bit I love helping people on, because when you start to research that, okay, because like what I've seen over the years is the first step is somebody's kind of aha moment like yours, where you go, okay, I need water. This is great. Discovered this. This is fantastic. And now the next step is people kind of goes, well, I know the old tap water isn't the best. So what do I do? Then I'm going by the bottled water. And then people are kind of concerned about the plastic, and they, you hear the stories about the bottled water, and like, the amount of crap that's in bottled water, guys, is serious. If there's one thing that you learn from this conversation today, is that to ditch the bottled water and at least kind of have a basic filter, because like the BPA leaching in there is actually a known carcinogen. And the BPA from the plastic, okay, it's just a chemical from the plastic, is actually a known carcinogen, and it's also a known hormone disruptor. So like, that's really not a good idea to be drinking that on a daily basis. Your tap water is a pharma chemical cocktail. It's got so much in there that it's not even, you could talk all day about that. It is, I don't care how good it looks, or if it's not even that, if it's not too smelly, it's got so many chemicals in there and waste medication. And it's awful. It's awful. So then what you do after that, then people they start researching different types of water filters, and then their brain gets fried, because they say, take the minerals out, leave the minerals in, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And people's brain gets fried.
And a lot of those, the jug filters are plastic anyway. Yeah. So yeah, I've got a glass one in the fridge, which is nice. But I mean, what about the alkaline? Because you've got all these lovely words behind you. A lot of people say that alkaline is what the body needs in order to fight cancer. It's the acidity of the body. I mean, if I wear gold or nickel or anything like that, my fingers go black. And I think I've always had quite acidic skin. And some of that was sugar, some of that was just, the way I'm built. But and also not drinking alkaline water. But how do you offer water that's different to normal water? What's going on with you?
Well, yeah, so then your water filters. So that's what I would say to everybody first, is a basic water filter will take out the nasties and retain the essential minerals, but that water is still exactly what you just said there. It's not alkaline. So that's a neutral water, which is great and better than the tap of the bottles. But if you want to take it to a whole other level, now you need to actually transform your water, restructure it, and drink a water that's actually alkalizing. So when you drink something alkalizing for your body, it has the ability to neutralize that over acidity. So what's over acidity in the body? How do you recognize it? For a start, it's usually like acid reflux, the headaches, the fatigue, the brain fog, the low energy. They're all signs that the body is skin conditions, that the body is overly acidic. Okay. And leaning towards that. Then cancer is the big one. Cancer is the cancerous cells are high, you know, your body is very acidic at that point. And also your cell voltage has dropped. So you would see a lot of people when they go down, you know, they have been diagnosed with cancer, and then they start researching all the different things they can do to support them. Alkalinity just shows up everywhere, that you've got to start getting the right foods in there. You got to start getting the water in there. But imagine you can actually get the alkalinity and the antioxidants in your water. Now that is massive. That is huge. So that's really.
Yeah, you mentioned just a word there, voltage. Can you just explain what you mean by that?
Our cells, we are, one, we're made of water, and two, we are electrical, basically, right? We're energy. That's what we are. And our cells have a voltage, and we are made up of trillions of cells, and good health is good cell health. Okay. A healthy cell has got a negative charge or a negative millivolt reading of voltage. When you become chronically sick, your cell voltage is dropping, and your body can't heal when it's in that mode, because it's actually it's in a survival mode and trying to basically keep you alive on a daily basis. But if you can actually raise your cell voltage, when you raise your cell voltage, and that is true, alkaline foods can raise your cell voltage, but most people could not eat nearly enough that they would need on a daily basis to do that. So when you can actually take your, you know, all the good things you're doing already and add in a water now that's got a negative charge, that has the ability to raise your cell voltage in the form of, you know, flooding the body with these negative ions in the form of molecular hydrogen.
It's a bit confusing when you say raise and negative.
I know it does, because
it sort of almost sounds a bit opposite. Yeah. But I know what you mean. Yeah.
No, but you know what? Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because negative sounds like a bad word, but negative in this case is a good word. So if you think of negative ions, what do you think of? You think, if people hear negative, they think of the sea air. People go, oh, I love the sea air because you get all these negative ions. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. So and you feel good reading in these negative ions. And what I would encourage people to do is look up the health benefits of molecular hydrogen. That's what you're drinking when you drink restructured water. If you go to, I might get you to put that maybe reference somewhere, wherever it goes, to the American Anti-Cancer Institute. They've got they've got so much great information in there for anybody dealing with cancer, number one, but they've got one page dedicated to living water and explaining the benefits of drinking a live living water versus a dead or acidic water or bottled water or distilled water or reverse osmosis water. Yeah. They go into a whole section and references explaining, you know, why water with that negative charge is really, really good to bring back that balance to the body, get the alkalinity in there and get the antioxidants in there. It's a huge shift, but a very simple step that makes a really, really big difference to your health.
So really, it's not enough just to drink them, or even though it made a big difference to me to go from no water virtually to loads of water, and then I settled down at a normal amount. And I still forget to drink water sometimes, because if I'm on the computer or I'm concentrating on something, I literally can just get so into what I'm doing, I forget to drink. And then I sort of come up from there and go, oh, I've not drunk for a while. So I you know, after a lifetime of not being thirsty and not drinking, only being thirsty when I'm in a hotter country or it's the summer, it is difficult to remember. So I do sort of carry a bottle, and I've got a bottle in the car. I've got, you know, bottles all over the place just to remind me. But with the, you mentioned also when we were chatting before we were recording about the antioxidants and it detoxes at a cellular level. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yep. So basically what you're doing when you drink this type of water that's restructured and it's alkalizing, and it's got this negative charge. Again, negative is good. It's got this negative charge. It has the ability to, it hydrates you 6 times faster than any other water. So you're actually getting more bang for your buck. So you're drinking a glass of water and you'd have to drink like liters of other water to get the same amount of.
Well, that's good news for those who can't drink a lot of water, because not everybody can they?
No, not everyone can. And that is a kind of a struggle for people to go, but I'm never thirsty. Most times people's thirst mechanism is just a little bit broken, and that can be reversed because they just don't recognize the difference between hunger and thirst. But once you get properly hydrated, your body naturally recognizes that, and you actually become more thirsty. So the more water you drink, especially water that really, is serving your body will actually just cry out for it. It'll be looking for it. But when you're drinking water of this quality, it really is, it's hydrating you at a cellular level and detoxing you at a cellular level. So it's better able to actually penetrate the cell, get the nutrients in and get the waste out. So you're eliminating more waste. That is actually massive. I'm trying to think of a polite way to put this. We're full of waste. We're full of waste, trapped
we are, and not being able to get rid of toxins affects your kidneys, your liver. It affects everything, doesn't it?
Everything.
So it's like we're basically poisoning ourselves most of the time. And I've got a video that I took just before they found out that I had the cancer, where my hair's long, it's all lank, I'm feeling really ill, and I sit there with the video and I go, I don't know what's happening to me, but I feel poisoned. And it turned out I had blood cancer. And
you were poisoned, literally.
I actually had sepsis, which led to them finding out that I had the blood cancer. But I sat there looking like death, going, I just feel like I'm poisoning myself. And I know that it's something related to the food. But of course, I didn't think at that point that it was anything to do with hydration or the quality of the water that I was having. So that I only really had half the story at that point. So it's really important to me, because you can eat a fairly good diet and get away with things if you're not that unhealthy otherwise. But without the water, you're pretty screwed, aren't you?
Yeah, well, see, the toxins and the chemicals come at us from 3 places: the air, the food, and the water. Think about it. You're out, all these toxins. Your food is all covered and sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, unless you're buying organic all the time when you're growing your own fruit and veg, and then the water. So we are so chemically loaded compared to, like, roll back 40, 50 years ago, like you're in the UK, I'm in Ireland. Most people had their wells, and we were, the air was cleaner, food was cleaner, water was cleaner.
Yeah.
Was there the same rate of heart disease and cancer back then as there is now? It was like 1 in 27, whereas now I know the Irish figure for the Irish Cancer Society is 1 in 2. Like that's
same over here.
It's a horrible number. It's like that's a really scary number. So we need to do the most important thing we can do. Well, 1, to help us recover if you are dealing with cancer, or 2, to actually prevent it, is actually reduce the toxic or the chemical load in our body. How do you do that? You've got to get that waste out. The only way you can get the waste out, actually, and this is, like, I just say, it's like if you had a house and you kept, you're emptying the bins, but you weren't taking the bins out. That's what's happening in our body. And you go back in 3 months and you're only taking out maybe 1 bin a week, and there's 5 bins building up. You've got this toxic load in your home, and you've got this toxic load in your body, because normal water and normal, just our diet today and what we're exposed to just does not support us and get rid of those toxins and chemicals. You've got to take some extra steps and extra action. So when you feel the body, because toxins, toxins and chemicals are those positive free radicals that you hear mentioned all the time.
Trouble is, I think if things aren't immediately obvious until you actually get a problem, you don't realize, and by then it could be too late. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you? Because it's the systems that you sell, isn't it?
Yep.
Just to be clear on that. Yeah,
just to be clear. What I do. So, I mean, I've been working with this product now for 6 years. It's just phenomenal. It's a Japanese technology. It's manufactured on medical equipment license. It is an amazing, does
it get fitted under the sink? Is that what it is behind you?
That's one of them there. That's one, like this. There's a few different models. That's one of them there. And if anybody wants to learn more about that and more about that technology, and all I can say to anybody is, we are passionate about sharing this information. This is a conversation. Like, we're having a conversation right now. You don't know what you don't know, basically. No. Okay. And once you know something, you can't unknow it. And our job is to actually just help people on that journey to educate themselves. We don't do the whole big power sell. If I can support you in getting a good water filter and point in the right direction there, if this isn't for you, I will do that. I will do whatever it takes, or whatever you need. at this time.
What's your web address?
It is Kangen Life, Kangen Life, Life.ie.
So
And I'll get a little link. I'll get a little link that you can put in.
We'll sort all that out.
We'll sort
when we upload it. But that's fantastic. Well, I know you've got to rush off to your next exciting thing, but thank you so much for explaining all that, because it's a whole new world. I didn't really realize any of it, to be honest. And all I'd ever seen was where those water crystals changed depending on the energy that was around them and the words that were spoken to them and all that stuff. And I thought that's a bit way out. But actually, if water is made up of the sort of the universal intelligent cells and all that energies, then it's all linked, isn't it? You know, we're all part of a big soup.
We are part. This is a much bigger conversation. Obviously, we've just had we've only scratched the surface.
Just
here.
A bit of an intro, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of an intro. Yeah, water is so fascinating, and it's.
So, would you be happy to come back and chat to us about some specifics later on? Would that be all right?
Yeah, do you know what? That'd be a good idea to come back and maybe say, look at, because like I feel like we kind of covered, it's more hydrating, alkaline, antioxidants, and people could be going, so we could say, like, speak specifically to the antioxidant element of it. That would be really important.
Yeah. And if anybody's got anything that they particularly want us to chat about, then just.
Do you know what we could do? Like a little live. We could do like a little live Q&A. There you go.
We could. Yeah.
I want to wish you the best luck wish you the best luck with your page. I think what you're doing is amazing. I mean, I love that it's a conversation with cancer that you're having, not a fight, because I think that's actually a huge shift that people kind of take on and actually, look at this as part of a journey and a conversation.
And also it's a gift, because I get to help a lot of people by relating the story and the experiences, what I've learned, and who I meet, and it's all part of it. I knew straight away that was what it was going to be about. So
and that's going to help that's going to help a lot of people, because you know what, it's a very confusing time for people. So I hope so many people find you and find your page and get all the help that they need, because I know how committed you are to making a difference for people.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Lots of love. Okay.
Love you. Bye. Bye.